Alright, so we have a lot to talk about today. Let's get straight into it. I'm KAKASHI with Kanto Capital. I don't normally discuss current events too much, but I wanted to share my thoughts on some of the things that's been happening recently. So make sure you let me know how you like this type of video, because this is not really something I normally do. And if this is your first time here, of course, consider liking and subscribing if you enjoy the video. First thing, let's talk about Logan Paul. So I know everyone wants to hear about Logan Paul. And as you probably know, he bought a bunch of first edition base set booster boxes somewhere in the $350,000 to $400,000 range, depending on the box and the transaction. So obviously this is really big news because at last time when he bought a booster box and did a break, the hobby just exploded, and it looks like he's trying to do that again. In Logan Paul's first video, he sold booster packs from his first edition base set booster box for $11,000 each. And I thought that was a very good value because of the marketing exposure they would gain. So for example, you owned a Pokemon business or a large Pokemon YouTube channel, it made a lot of sense to buy those packs and get that extra advertising. In a lot of ways, I almost saw it as a free booster pack when you consider the value you get it from the exposure. And for this new break, he is now selling the packs, auction the packs for about $40,000 a pack, and that puts the cumulative price of the booster box at about $1 million. Now, a really key thing to remember is that even though he got about $1 million for the booster box, I don't think an average seller would be able to get that price. I think that's a unique value that only he can offer, and again, that's partially due to the exposure and the marketing power of his brand. Now, a lot of people view this as a very bullish thing. The fact that Logan Paul is getting back into the Pokemon game sounds very bullish, and a lot of people are predicting that prices will start to move up again. Now, I just want to keep in mind that even though it could go up, even though the market absolutely could go up as a result of this box break, just remember that the first edition base set market is not the same market that the normal average everyday person participates in. That's part of why in my market analysis videos, I don't use a first edition base set Charizard as the basis. It's because an average person is not going to buy or can't afford to buy those level of cards. Now, this is really important because it's just not something that a normal person does. This is really more for the higher end collector or the higher net worth individual. Now, because of that, I could see a few different scenarios playing out. Let's get the obvious out of the way. One of the big things that could happen, of course, is the hype just gets bigger thanks to Logan Paul. It's really easy to market this type of headline too because he did buy, I think it was $2 million in booster boxes. The fact that he's already sold $1 million of packs already, and it makes a great headline. You could put something like Logan Paul bought $2 million worth of Pokemon cards. You could say he sold $1 million worth of Pokemon cards. You could say he turned $2 million into a $6 million investment just like that, or that he made $4 million. There's so many ways to market this headline and really start to draw some extra eyes. And this could cause, once again, more people to start jumping into the hobby. And, you know, maybe there were some people that watched the first live stream and they didn't want to get in the first time, but then they watched the second one and maybe they're saying, this is it, now I want to do it. I want to collect Pokemon cards too. And maybe they decide to start jumping in collecting as well. And so obviously if you have another massive influx of new collectors, you're probably going to see prices start to climb again, and maybe the hype gets even crazier than last time. Now, another scenario that I could see is that regardless of the success of the stream, the market could adjust this time. And this is very important because the market was not ready the first time. Very few people were ready for this. This time though, everyone's getting prepared, and it's possible the market will be ready this time and that the event is actually already priced into the market. For example, I already seen comments of people saying that they've already moved cards off of eBay, or they're taking down their listings, or they're increasing their prices already in preparation that the prices start moving up. And this is really very important because markets move fast. It wouldn't surprise me at all to see people adjust this time before this actually happens. And you know, this happens, for example, in the stock market all the time. Now in this case, if that happens and the market has already priced in this event, then the big move that everyone is expecting might not even happen. Or let's say prices will go up, but it might only go just a small amount, very minimal amount. And that's very important because, for example, let's say if the prices already start this high, a new person could get really excited, see the video and say, oh, I want to go and collect, and they go to look up base set prices and then they see that everything is already marked up near the peak. Not that they would know what the peak is, but they would just see these exorbitant prices, and because they're so high, they might just lose that excitement and decide to back off and not participate. And if that happens, that lack of price movement can kind of cause a bearish sentiment, or more of like a just not very exciting reaction. So if you're anticipating prices to spike and then nothing really happens, or just barely anything happens, it can really set the stage for a potential bull trap. And I'll probably discuss this more in my next market analysis video. But that's just a couple of examples of realistic scenarios that I could see playing out. And of course, there's a lot of things that could happen that I didn't mention, but just a general synopsis of both the positive and the negative possibilities that we could see. All right, next topic. Let's talk about McDonald's. These wonderful Pokemon cards at McDonald's. Now, here's what I think. I think this is a great set to collect. But I just want you to keep in mind that there are so many of these cards out here. I would anticipate these will be very easy to get in the future. I looked it up and there are over 14,000 McDonald's in the United States. And if each location, let's say, gets 2 cases, that would be 4.2 million packs out there. And that's only if stores got 2 cases of cards. If they, let's say, get 4 cases each, that would be 8.4 million packs. I don't really think I need to add much more to that, but if we look at the average of, let's say, pulling a Holo Pikachu out of every 25 packs, and there are millions of packs between 4 to 8 million, then if we use my random, but I think a very reasonable estimate, that would put us at about 150,000 to 300,000 of every single Holo card in the set. And again, I think my number is very conservative. Versus, let's say, if we look at mass-produced sets, other mass-produced Pokemon sets, where, let's say, Hidden Fates, the Shiny Charizard GX, I mean, that card you can only get 1 out of about every 500 packs, or the Rainbow Rare Pikachu from Vivid Voltage is somewhere around 1 out of 1,000 packs. So even though, let's say, those are mass-produced products, just the sheer odds is significantly less if their packs were equal. Also, keep in mind that historically, McDonald's promos have, for the most part, never been really very valuable. Now, maybe this changes. Maybe the fact that this is a 25th year anniversary promo, maybe the fact that the hobby is bigger than ever, maybe this is the catalyst that changes that and it makes McDonald's promo cards more valuable. Or maybe this will be the first set that really starts to have value. But another thing to consider is maybe right now it could be the hype of driving the prices up right now. I have wondered, for example, if the lack of retail product that we can find, the fact that we can't find any Darkness Ablaze or Vivid Voltage at retail stores, if this is driving up demand for the McDonald's cards. And for example, if you could actually find those packs in stores, if you can go to Walmart and pick up Vivid Voltage whenever you wanted, would there be this big rush to get the McDonald's cards? So whether you want to build a financial position in the McDonald's set depends really on what you see in it. But what I suggest is just remember to keep all of this in mind before you decide to make a position into these cards. But as far as collecting, again, I think it's great. I actually got some packs recently and it was really fun just to open them up and hope I get a Pikachu. Didn't get one, by the way, but it was really fun to do that. And I just hope that kids and families are actually able to get their hands on some packs if they want to open them. Next topic. New evolution set. So there is a new set that's been announced for Japan. I'm assuming that might be our Sword and Shield 6 set. So maybe the one coming after Battle Styles. No official word on that yet. But there's a new set that's going to be centered around Eevee and the evolutions of Eevee. So that's really exciting to hear about because obviously Eevee is a very popular Pokemon and people love the evolutions like Umbreon and Espeon and Sylveon, etc. But really we know nothing about it, but it's just really exciting to hear that news, so I'll be very excited when we finally start to get some details about that. And speaking of new sets, after Shining Fates comes out, which is very soon, the next set will be Battle Styles. I should have an analysis video for that set coming out whenever I get a chance to work on it, But just keep in mind we have Shining Fates right around the corner, and then Battle Styles will be out shortly after. Now, something that did get people very excited is that the Pokemon Company actually released an official announcement regarding these shortages of product that we've been seeing lately. And they know that we can't get product. They know that people are having trouble even just picking up some random packs at retail. And that really got people excited and hopeful. But I just want you to know to temper your expectations, because just because they know and just because they're going to try to get more product and meet demand doesn't mean that they actually will. Again, from what we understand, they're still trying to get extra facilities up. We are still in somewhat of a lockdown in the United States, for example. So getting increased manufacturing capabilities may or may not be possible immediately. So even though they're going to try addressing the shortages, it doesn't mean that they will. And so with all of that said, all this big news, all this very significant news, especially the Logan Paul information, the market is still going insanely strong right now. We're still seeing record prices on most product. Even vintage is starting to recover after that really heavy pullback. Not up to the peak, but at least it's recovering and starting to show strength at this new price level. And overall, the market is just looking really strong. We still have record demand. Products still can't stay on shelves. But I just want you to keep in mind right now that I can see frustration starting to set in. There's a little bit of frustration in the market. I've seen it in random social media platforms. Of course, it doesn't mean that everybody is frustrated, but I am starting to see a little bit more of the groaning going around, a little bit more of a fatigue starting to set in. And if that fatigue starts to build, if more people start to feel that way, if someone hasn't been able to pick up any product for the last 3 sets, if they weren't able to get Darkness Ablaze or Vivid Voltage, and they can't get any Battle Styles or Shining Fates, I could absolutely people starting to get past that tipping point, and maybe potentially we see people starting to exit the hobby. Or maybe it would be the opposite. Maybe Shining Fates comes out, Battle Styles comes out, this new Eevee set that I was talking about comes out, and maybe the 25th anniversary, all of this just sparks even more craziness. We don't really know. But even though the market looks great right now and the demand is still just insatiable, just remember that there's a lot of ways, there's a million different ways that this could play out. My advice, just remember to enjoy the hobby. Try not to take things too serious, and of course, hit the like button and the subscribe button. But let me know your thoughts about all the news and how you like this video. Again, this is not the type of content that I normally make, and most importantly, don't eat all those Happy Meals at once. I'm Kakashi with Kanto Capital, and I'll see you in the next video.